Hey everyone, a very good evening to all of you. Welcome to the MCQ session on the finance current affairs. So very good evening to all of you guys. Let's quickly start the session. Okay guys, the first question for today. The Bank of India has collaborated with a fintech player to strengthen the MSME financing ecosystem. Through this partnership, a digital supply chain finance and MSME lending platform has been introduced under the brand name BOI Trade India. With which fintech firm has the Bank of India partnered to launch BOI Trade Easy? Hello, Abhigyan. Yes, Cash Invoice is the name of the platform. Cash Invoice is the name of the platform. Very good. Option E. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, John. Next one. Mercantile Trade Transaction MTT are being used by the Indian traders to buy and sell the goods without physically entering the India. But these are highly sensitive to the forex risk. In October 2025, RBI revised the norms to provide more flexibility, while the capping risk associated with this kind of forex exposure was also there. As per the revised direction, what is the maximum time allowed for the forex outlay in case of MTT? Good evening, Bhakti. Good evening. Yes, and the correct choice here is 6 months. Can you guys tell me the earlier timeline? Yes, from 4 months, right? So earlier it used to be 4, now it is 6 months. Very good. Next one. Which single unified appellate forum for the second level appeals under the GST was recently launched? Which single unified appellate forum for single level appeals under the goods and service tax was recently launched? It was GST appellate tribunal. Okay, goods and service tax appellate tribunal. This is for the second level appeals. Can you also tell me the member composition of the GST appellate tribunal? Member composition of the GST AT. The correct choice is option B, 2 judicial members, 1 technical member from the center and 1 technical member from the state. Very good. Next one. India's UPI ecosystem continues its international expansion, and recently also one Gulf country was again added in the ecosystem. Indian travelers can now use UPI for the payments in which country, as approved in September 2025, and the correct choice is Qatar. Right? Option B is the correct choice, Qatar. Next one. To strengthen trust and transparency in the global foreign exchange market, the central bank and institution adhere to a set of best practices laid down in the international code. In September 2025, the Reserve Bank of India has renewed its commitment to this particular framework, reaffirming its role in ensuring integrity in the FX operation. RBI recently signed statement of commitment to which international code? Yes, it was the FX Global Code. FX Global Code. Very good. Can you also tell me the total outward remittances under the liberalized remittance scheme in July 2025? LRS data of July 2025. liberalized remittance scheme data in July 2025, which was recently released. 4.25, 4.78, 4.3. All the options are different. The correct answer here is 2.45 billion. Okay, 2.45 billion. So very good, John. 2.45 billion is the correct choice. Okay, next one. As per the Monetary Policy Committee meeting, what is the new revised GDP growth projection for the financial year 2026? New GDP revised growth rate for the financial year 2026. Now this can directly come in your phase 1 examination. Okay. Yes, earlier it used to be 6.5, now it is 6.8. Right? So very good, Abhigyan, Bhakti, John, Saloni. Next one. The borrowing program of the Government of India for the second half of financial year 2026 plays a very critical role. Can you tell me the gross market borrowing via dated securities pegged for the half year 2 of financial year 2026? It is 6.77 lakh crore. Okay, 6.77 lakh crore. Next one. Important, very, very important. And this kind of question already was there in your previous year question, right? I think in 2023 maybe. What is the WMA, Ways and Means Advance Limit set by Reserve Bank of India for half year 2 of financial year 2025? A similar question was there in your previous year question paper. I think it was 2023 PYQ. 50,000 crore, right? Perfect. 50,000 crore. Next one. The dip in the outward remittances in July 2025 under the liberalized remittance scheme was not uniform across all the categories. The fall in the LRS outflow during the 2025 was primarily driven by which segment? Now you need to tell me the driving reason of the liberalized remittance scheme. There was a fall. What is the contributing reason? What was the contributing reason? The correct answer here is yes, John, travel and overseas education. The correct answer is travel and overseas education. That's why option C will be the correct choice here. Okay. Next one. Can you tell me at what utilization level of the WMA limit? WMA limit is definitely 50,000 crore. At what utilization level the RBI can trigger fresh flotation of the market loan for the Government of India? Now this is a part of your data released on the RBI website. Yes, 75%. Okay, 75%. Very good. Next one. One of the most simplest data to remember, the SDQI score for the scheduled commercial bank for June 2024. Released the March 2025 data. Now they have released the June 2025 data. So that's why June 2025 data will be very, very important for you guys. Perfect. It is 89.9. 89.9. Also tell me which category of the bank recorded the highest number of the SDQI in June 2025. Which was the category that accounted for the highest SDQI score among all public, private, payment bank, small finance bank, regional rural bank? It was small finance bank. Okay, it was small finance bank. Perfect. Next one. Component wise, Which component showed the highest number of SDQI? I'm talking about the scheduled commercial bank here. Scheduled commercial bank के अंदर component wise which component showed the highest number in June 2025 SDQI data? Yes, it was completeness. In March 2025 also it was completeness. In June 2025 also it was completeness only. Okay. Was it 100% really? Now this needs to be reviewed out. I don't think it was 100%. Please check it once again. Okay. Next one. India recently witnessed the launch of its first AI driven equity fund. Very, very important for your phase 1. So which two organizations have jointly launched India's first AI driven equity fund? It was Jio BlackRock and Paytm Money. And what was the name of the fund? What was the name of the fund? Anyone? Any idea? What was the name of the fund? Check it in the PDF of Finance Current Affairs session. Okay. Yes, Jio BlackRock Flexi Cap. Next one. Now here you need to tell me the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development ka revised GDP growth outlook related to India. What are the OECD's revised GDP growth forecast for India for financial year 2025 and financial year? The data is 6.7% and 6.2% respectively. So for financial year 2025 it is 6.7%. For financial year 2026 it is 6.2%. Okay. Next one. Very, very important question. High probability question. Don't know where it can come. Maybe in phase 1, maybe in phase 2. But high chance है कि आ सकता है. To enhance investor protection and risk management in the capital market, SEBI has recently amended its custodian securities, right? Limit related to the custodian security. So now what is the revised minimum net worth requirement for the custodians under SEBI's amended custodian regulation? Yes, 75 crore. Can you tell me the earlier limit? Abhi limit is 75 crore. Very, very important. What was the old limit? Yes, from 50 crore. Now the new limit is 75 crore. Next one. So that was for the new custodians entering the market. They need to have a net worth of 75%. What about the ones who are already in the existing market? What is the transition period that SEBI has allowed to the existing custodians to comply with the new net worth requirement? The transition period is 3 years. Okay, 3 years. Very good. Option C. Next one. Recently, RBI has allowed a particular category of authorized dealer banks in the participation of the offshore non-deliverable derivative contract. Which category of the authorized dealer has been now permitted recently? Important. Category 3. And earlier, which category was already permitted? Which category was already permitted? Category 1 was already permitted. Now they have allowed the category 3 as well. So they both can participate in the non-deliverable derivative contract. Okay, non deliverable derivative contract. So here the correct answer will be AD category 3. Again, it is part of your RBI circulars. Next one. In 2025, RBI has issued directions on the digital payment transaction authentication take effect for the domestic transaction. It will be effective from 1st of April 2026, right? From 1st of April 2026. So, new financial year is the keyword here that you need to remember. And one advice from my end, guys, make a list of all the circulars that are going to be effective from 1st of April. Just write new financial year and write the names of all the circulars. Next homework, write new year, 1st January, not new financial year, new year. Write the name of all the circulars which are important and which are effective from 1st of January. Okay, so that's the homework for your weekend. Next one, same direction I'm talking about for non-recurring card present. Let's suppose I'm doing a card transaction, but the card and the physical machine is not present here. That means I'm doing a online transaction, and that to cross-border payment. What will be the date the issuer comply with the RBI authentication direction for non-recurring cross-border transactions? The date here will be 1st of October 2026. 1st of October 2026, right? So usually, as per my understanding, what they can do is they are going to ask you the questions of applicability of a particular circular rather than going into too much detail and then asking the date, like this question, right? Because we do have so much of data that it becomes practically impossible to remember each and every date and data, right? So that's why multiple revision of MCQs that I am covering in the MCQ Finance Current Affairs session will definitely give you a competitive edge. Why? Because if you directly start learning each and everything from each and every session on YouTube, it will be too complex for you guys. That's why what I do is I directly cover the limits, I directly cover the dates as well as the core concepts, right? So this approach can definitely help you ace your phase 1 examination. Directly take the MCQ session, do watch both the sessions, but for revision purpose, directly take the MCQ session, and what you can do is those things that are very important, you can read them in detail from the Finance Current Affairs session PDF as well, right? Otherwise, what you can do, let's suppose there is a MOU, there is a tie-up of two organizations, directly complete it from this MCQ session. That will save you some time, right? That will save you some time. अच्छा, तुम लोग आंसर भी दे रहे हो या फिर मेरा सुन भी रहे हो मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ, है ना? As per the latest mandate, what is the minimum authentication standard? So obviously we do have a now 2FA, which is compulsory already in India. A lot of platforms are already using 2FA only, but these are the consolidated guidelines, right? So 2-factor authentication is the correct choice here. Next one. Let's suppose I am not present at the time of the transaction. That means I'm doing an online transaction. That's why my card is not present. So in that case, what will happen? What must at least one factor of authentication should be? Definitely there will be 2-factor authentication only. But out of this, if the card is not present, then one factor will be definitely your OTP based mechanism. One factor will be your OTP based mechanism. Sir, याद नहीं रहता है भाई, याद करना ही क्या है समझना बात को. मैं कहीं पे गया, शॉपिंग करने गया, ये टी शर्ट बाय करने गया, ये टी शर्ट मिला 1000 रुपये का था, मैंने मेरा कार्ड दिया, आई स्वाइप्ड माई कार्ड. क्या OTP आता है? नहीं आता है. आप अपना पिन डालते हो, ट्रांजैक्शन हो जाता है, OTP नहीं आता है, क्योंकि वहां पे कंपलसरी नहीं है. आप थे वहां पे, आपका कार्ड है, आपने, योर कार्ड वॉज प्रेजेंट, then there was no requirement of any dynamic authentication. But if you are doing an online shopping, let's suppose I'm ordering this thing from Myntra, they will ask me my password, plus they will ask me for my OTP verification as well, because my card is not present. That's why there is a requirement of a dynamic or a transaction specific authentication as well. Okay, so nothing is there to remember, right? Just try to practically understand the things rather than mugging up. Next one, which two entities have signed a MOU to combat cyber crimes and financial frauds linked to the telecom sector? Obviously अब telecom sector यहाँ पे link हो चुका है, so option में clear दिख जाएगा आपको, right? And these kind of hints will also be there in your examination. These kind of hints will also be there in your examination. अब telecom का matter है तो DOT तो होगा ना यार, right? DOT तो will be there. So the correct answer is DOT and FIUIND. So अगर मेरे को ये नहीं भी आता तो भी मैं इसके अंदर कैलकुलेटेड गेस करके आता, राइट? ऑप्शन सी को. नेक्स्ट वन, विच ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हैज द नेशनल अर्बन कोऑपरेटिव फाइनेंस एंड डेवलपमेंट कॉर्पोरेशन लिमिटेड हैज पार्टनर्ड विथ फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ एक्सेलरेटिंग द डिजिटल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन फॉर द अर्बन कोऑपरेटिव बैंक्स? वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. It's related to digital transformation of the UCBs. Important. The correct choice here is option B, CSC E-Governance Services Limited, India Services Limited, right? Next one, the Reserve Bank of India has issued new guidelines for claim settlement related to the deceased bank customer. What is the timeline by which all the banks are required to adopt these norms at the latest? Important. Correct choice here is 31st March 2026. Okay, option E. Option E is the correct choice. 31st March 2026 is the timeline, right? So this is the timeline by which you need to compulsorily adopt it. Okay, next one. What was the year-on-year growth rate? बहुत ही simple question of India's IIP Industrial Index of Industrial Production, and this is a rounded off figure, that's why you can easily remember this. There is no pointer in it, right? 4% is the correct choice. There is no pointer in it, so that's why you can easily remember this data. Next one, from which date SEBI has mandated the use of dedicated UPI address for all the registered intermediaries? Because now all the registered intermediaries need to adopt a particular naming convention of their UPI ID, of their UPI address. So they need a @valid handle, plus there is a UPI address convention. The correct choice is 1st of October 2025. 1st of October 2025. Next one. To strengthen the resilience of the banking sector, RBI has proposed a forward-looking provisioning framework. यहाँ तक आंसर आ जाना चाहिए. That focuses on the expected losses rather than just only recognizing the incurred losses. This shift intended to bring the Indian regulations in line with the global standards. Why? Because a similar kind of approach is also there in your Ind AS and IFRS. Financial instrument is the name of Ind AS and IFRS, which is specifically having the provision of expected credit loss model, and from that Ind AS and IFRS only RBI has adopted this model, right? With certain changes definitely relating to the regulatory environment of the banks. So that's why they have adopted directly from Ind AS and IFRS. हमने कहाँ से adopt किया? IFRS से Ind AS ने adopt किया, Ind AS से RBI ने adopt किया. Expected credit loss framework, super important question, very high probability question. ठीक है, RBI loves to ask anything related to your syllabus, which is in dynamic portion. So let me tell you how it is related to your dynamic portion. The very first thing, it is related to your accounting. Why? Because Ind AS is related to your accounting. If you are giving RBI grade B examination, I am talking about phase 2. Definitely it can come in phase 1 as well, but more specifically I can relate it with the phase 2 syllabus. Why? Because FM आपका phase 2 के अंदर आता है. So FM के अंदर आपका accounting आ गया. दूसरा ये बैंकिंग रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन हो गया, तीसरा ये आरबीआई की वेबसाइट रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन हो गया, और आपका ये डायनेमिक फाइनेंस करंट अफेयर्स हो गया, राइट। सिलेबस के अंदर या अकाउंटिंग में नहीं, आपका दूसरे पार्ट के अंदर भी फॉल करेगा, एज अ बैंकिंग रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन के अंदर भी ये वाला पार्ट आपका फॉल करेगा, सो डेफिनेटली अ वेरी हाई प्रोबेबिलिटी क्वेश्चन इट इज। नेक्स्ट वन, RBI has launched a scheme to reduce the large pool of unclaimed deposits and reactivate dormant accounts. So what RBI is doing here is they are just giving incentives to banks for settling the unclaimed deposits and reactivating the dormant account. I just want to know about the duration with which this scheme will be operational. What is the duration within which this scheme will be operational? It is operational for 1 year. That is the very first thing that you need to know. It is operational just for 1 year. फर्स्ट अक्टूबर 2025, ठीक है, इसी मंथ की पहली तारीख से लेके 30th September 2026. परफेक्ट. नेक्स्ट वन, recently RBI has revised the liquidity management framework. So which rate has RBI maintained as the operating target for the monetary policy under the revised framework? So many questions in this particular session. I think there are close to 40 questions from this single session. 40 questions एक ही सेशन में. जनरली एक वीक के अंदर हार्डली 20 to 25 क्वेश्चन हमको क्वालिटी के मिलते हैं. इस वाले सेशन में 40 क्वेश्चंस है और इसके अंदर से डेफिनेटली आपको कुछ ना कुछ फेज 1 में मिल सकता है. WSR, ओके, वेटेड एवरेज कॉल रेट. नेक्स्ट वन, under the revised framework, which tenure of VRR or VRRR will now be primarily used? Earlier the RBI was using some other tenure. Now RBI has decided to shift to some other tenure for the VRR and VRRR. It is 7 days, right? Earlier we were following the 14-day timeline. Now we are going to transition to 7 days. Okay, 14 days था I think, है ना? 15 नहीं था, 14 था. ठीक है. Next one, what percentage, what minimum percentage of the prescribed CRR that the bank shall require to maintain on a daily basis? Again, it was reconfirmed in this particular liquidity framework. Yes, 90% is the correct choice. 90%. Next one, India's international investment position. I am talking about the IIP. International investment position, how much assets we are having outside the India versus how much investments they are having, the outside people in India. That's our liability, right? So how much did the net claim of non-resident on India decline during Q1 of financial year 2026? It's 16.4 billion USD. Okay, 16.4 billion USD. This is the net claim. Our claim minus their claim, net claim. Okay. Next one. Can you guys also tell me the ratio of India's international asset to liability position as of June 2025? As of June 2025, I have computed this as well in the table if you guys remember yesterday. Just to prove you that how the data is being calculated, right? Total assets divided by total liabilities. That's how we calculate the data. 79.2%, that's correct. Perfect. 79.2% is the correct choice, option A. Next one. External debt of India has been rising gradually, though still sustainable relative to the GDP. You need to tell me here at what level was India's external debt placed at the end of June 2025, which was a recent published data. $7.2 billion. Next one. What was the external debt to GDP ratio? How much debt I am having? How much GDP I am having as of June 2025? Debt to GDP ratio. %18.9% is the correct choice. Okay, 18.9% option E here is the correct choice. That's my debt to GDP ratio as of June 2025, guys. Which currency has the largest share in external debt as at June 2025? A very simple question. I think every one of you will be able to answer this one at least. Obviously, it is always about US dollar. It's having more than 50%. The largest share in our India's external debt, June 2025. Next one can be very, very important. But I think it will be more relevant for your phase 2 rather than phase 1, though they can ask you in phase 1 as well. I'm not denying कि ये phase 1 में नहीं पूछा जा सकता, ठीक है, disclaimer from my end. But शायद phase 2 के अंदर ज़्यादा closeness आती है syllabus से, because we are having debt service coverage ratio as well. Right, we do have debt service coverage ratio as well in our ratio analysis. अगर नहीं कर रखा हो तो अच्छे से कर लेना, आ सकता है एग्जाम में, ठीक है. दो एक सिंपल क्वेश्चन ही आएगा, सिंपल टू मॉडरेट ही आएगा, ज़्यादा डिफिकल्ट लेवल पे नहीं आना चाहिए मेरे हिसाब से. What was India's debt service ratio as of June 2025? वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एज पर माई अंडरस्टैंडिंग. ज़्यादा चांस बनते हैं फेज 2 में आने के. 6.6%. 6.6% क्या मतलब होता है सर इसका? Debt service ratio. How much profit I do have in order to service my debt obligation now. What is debt obligation? Principal repayment plus interest repayment for the current financial year. That's it. Profit for the current financial year. That's it. That's what debt service coverage ratio is all about. Though जितना मैंने सिंपली बताया उतना सिंपल है नहीं. इसकी प्रॉफिट की कैलकुलेशन थोड़ी सी कॉम्प्लेक्स है, राइट. प्रॉफिट आफ्टर टैक्स लेते हैं, डेप्रिसिएशन प्लस करते हैं, इंटरेस्ट प्लस करते हैं, एनी अदर नॉन कैश एलिमेंट प्लस करते हैं, उसको नेट ऑपरेटिंग इनकम बोलते हैं, उसको डिवाइड करते हैं प्रिंसिपल और इंटरेस्ट ऑब्लिगेशन से फॉर द करंट फाइनेंशियल ईयर, ठीक है. हो सकता है कुछ लोगों को याद आ गया हो. ओके, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. इन सितंबर 2025 L&T, ये तो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन है आज के सेशन का. L&T secured a multi-million dollar facility from an international benchmark, marking the major step in linking the infrastructure financing with ESG benchmark. Most important question from my end. मैं पेपर बना रहा होता तो जरूर पूछता. What type of trade facility worth ₹700 million did L&T secured from Standard Chartered Bank? And please do remember, L&T was the first company to issue a ESG bond, right? जो फ्री रैंकर्स बैच देख रहे हो मैंने उसमें कवर किया है, जो पेड क्लासेस में हो तो ऑब्वियसली कवर्ड है ही. भाई इट इज सस्टेनेबिलिटी लिंक्ड ट्रेड फैसिलिटी. सस्टेनेबिलिटी लिंक्ड ट्रेड फैसिलिटी. हर चीज ग्रीन सही नहीं होती, ठीक है. हर ग्रीन जो ग्रीन दिखता है वो सही नहीं होता. द करेक्ट आंसर हियर इज सस्टेनेबिलिटी लिंक्ड ट्रेड फैसिलिटी. ओके, प्लीज रीचेक दिस वन. ओके, प्लीज रीचेक दिस वन एवरीवन. बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन है, डायरेक्टली एग्जाम में आ सकता है. ये भी आ सकता है कि L&T ने सबसे पहला ESG बॉन्ड इशू किया था. मैंने लास्ट फ्री रैंकर्स बैच में, आई थिंक मई या जून का न्यूज़ होगा, उसमें कवर किया था, ठीक है. नेक्स्ट वन. अकॉर्डिंग टू द NPCI प्लान, UPI ट्रांजैक्शन कैन सून बी कन्वर्टेड इनटू व्हिच रीपेमेंट फॉर्म? So this you need to tell me later on in the comment section. Okay, this you need to tell me later on in the comment section. And guys, for those who need guidance, definitely we have launched a rapid revision phase 1 batch. You can have a look at this batch. If you like, you can enroll in this particular batch as well. Okay guys, so thank you so much from my end. Bye bye, take care, see you soon next week, same time, same day, with a lot more questions. Take care and wish you a very happy weekend. Plus what you need to do on weekend is just give a quick revision of each and everything which came in the last 2 months. Okay, bye bye, good night, take care. Thank you.